Hi there! Today we're talking about static shock. According to science, a static shock is an electrical charge caused by... Oh, I'm just kidding. This isn't an episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy. Though I wish I could pull off those bow ties.
Static electricity. It rocks!
We're talking about everyone's favorite electric hero, Static. And it's just static.
Yep, static.
Not Static Shock. Though sometimes even Static didn't get his own name right.
I'm Beyonce.
What? A Beyonce reference in a kid's cartoon? That's why I love this show. Well, and also because Static, he kept it real.
He's one of our greatest heroes. Someone with the power to change the world. Someone who...
Come on, how great can this guy be if he's stupid enough to get caught by a bunch of snake people?
Questioning old Batman? You know, that's not gonna end well.
He's you, Virgil.
Burn. Never question old Batman, folks. To be clear, we are gonna talk a little bit about the comic book, but this is gonna largely focus on the cartoon. So here's everything you didn't know about Static Shock, the cartoon. Okay, a little backstory. Static, the comic book character, was created in 1993 for Milestone Media, a collaboration of African-American artists and writers that included Dwayne McDuffie. McDuffie developed Static at Milestone Studios, which was responsible for the creation of many popular multicultural superheroes for the Milestone imprint published by DC Comics. Static was first developed by McDuffie for Marvel, and his personality was based off of Spider-Man, which is why he has all types of quips, even baseball quips.
A purist would never use an aluminum bat.
Milestone's characters were distributed through DC Comics but existed in their own universe, called the Dakotaverse, until the two were merged together in 1994 in an intercompany crossover called Worlds Collide. In 2000, McDuffie became the writer and story editor of the animated series. This gave the show a strong understanding of who the characters were and kept the adaptation true to the comics.
The name's Static. I'll put a shock to your system.
Static's popularity would explode with the premiere of Static Shock on Kids WB in 2000. Just as early hits as Batman the Animated Series and Animaniacs were winding down, and a generation of programs were taking off, like Batman Beyond and Jackie Chan Adventures. Though Static was one of the last true standouts from the Kids WB block. It ran for 4 seasons, 52 episodes, and even won a Daytime Emmy for its special crossover event, The Big Leagues, where Static squared off with the Joker and straight up tortured him.
Gotcha. See? That looks fun. Let me try.
That scream sounds familiar. Where have I heard that? That is, yes indeed, Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, voicing the Joker. That dude is always getting electrocuted. While Hamill was on the show also boasted a lot of other stars, including Kadeem Hardison.
And you are?
About to get very angry unless you get out of my way.
Kevin Michael Richardson.
I've seen your kind all my life. A fine, upstanding bigot.
And even Alfre Woodard.
Imagine my boy, a superhero.
And while the Emmys were cool, I think Static's biggest honor was making it up on Fresh Prince's bedroom wall. Yep, that's the first issue of the Static comic at the top left corner. Just like in the comics, Static's real name is Virgil Hawkins. Virgil is a 14-year-old high school student who, like many superheroes, really sucks at keeping his secret identity a secret.
It fell out of your pocket. You probably shouldn't carry that while you're in uniform.
Virgil lives with his dad, Robert, and sister, Sharon.
Hey, Puff Daddy, you're taking a long time for a guy with only 5 whiskers.
At least I'm growing mine on purpose.
His mother was a paramedic who died after being hit by a stray bullet, giving Virgil a fierce opposition to gun violence, though he had no problem blasting hot sewage at bad guys. Static Shock is fondly remembered, at least by me, for tackling the realistic struggles of a teenager, like intolerance.
And now I see why Richie acts like a hood, Maggie. That kid's a bad influence. All his kind are.
And even school shootings, like when his best friend Reggie got shot. It wasn't all dark though. The show became a fan favorite because of its ability to comment on relevant social issues while mixing in a healthy dose of humor and absurdity, like this giant toy monkey.
Are there any giant monkeys in this part of Dakota?
Like, that is literally my worst nightmare come to life. Not to mention, Virgil was a total nerd. I mean, in the best way possible. Pot, kettle, right. But seriously, he loved video games, collecting action figures, and even dropped Lord of the Rings references.
Oh yeah, the Lord of the Rings.
This guy rocks. And that's why he deserves such an awesome intro song. Check it out.
Fight the criminal, chase the bad guys, save the world, fly to the sky.
You can thank rapper Little Romeo for that killer jam. The show did by later featuring Little Romeo in an episode of the series titled Romeo in the Mix, where Static is basically pawned off by his friends, but also taught Little Romeo a valuable lesson.
They got those cheese dingles you like. On my way.
Which is that cheese dingles are the best. Now, Virgil got his powers the same way as many other superheroes. A freak accident. In his case, it was a freak chemical explosion. Usually it's acid or something radioactive, but in this case, it was quantum vapor developed by Alva Industries, which is a fancy way of saying purple gas that turns regular people into metahumans. Do you know what that means? I'll tell you what it means. We have ourselves a good old-fashioned origin story, folks. Actually, Static's origins are much more nuanced. The whole reason he's at the docks to get exposed to the purple gas in the first place is due to peer pressure to join a gang.
There's only one way you're gonna save your skin. Roll with my crew.
Me? You don't want me. I'm only 14, and I'm too stringy to be a banger.
He doesn't really want to, but he's too afraid to say no. When the police show up and start shooting, it creates a gas cloud that gives everyone in the vicinity superpowers.
What's going on?
The result? The gang members turn into supervillains and Virgil into Static Shock, aka a human fuse box.
I'm a human fuse box!
Hey, he said it first. With the help of Richie, Virgil harnesses his power to control electricity, chooses a superhuman identity, and picks a costume, which thankfully was not this.
Alright, now this is just embarrassing.
Though I did like this option.
Yeah, you look like a battery commercial. Next.
Battery commercial? That's Black Vulcan's costume. Watch it, Richie. FYI, Black Vulcan was a throwback character from the original Super Friends, voiced by the infamous Buster Jones. He would later appear on the show Harvey Birdman, where he was voiced by actor Phil LaMarr, which is the same actor that played Static himself. It all comes full circle, y'all. Mind blown. Now, thanks to the purple gas explosion, there are new villains popping up each week to torment the people of Dakota City, many of whom had powers that you could easily guess given their name, like Hotstreak, whose power, surprise, is heat. And Rubber Band Man, who bends like, you guessed it, rubber.
Nice shot.
Talon, a girl with wings.
She's that little turtle dove.
And Starburst, who throws candy at people. Not really, but that would be cool, right? Instead, he did cool stuff like this. Though Static's greatest foe was actually Ebon, basically a living shadow, which doesn't really sound that menacing, right? Nope, totally wrong there. Ebon could change shape and travel through any substance. He also collected other Bang Babies, which sounds like a Big Bang Theory spinoff, but it's not. Regardless, I think I'm gonna be selling that to CBS. Bang Babies were actually what Ebon called the other people / metahumans affected by the quantum vapor. Together they formed the Metabreed.
We're a new breed, the meta breed.
Good for you!
A gang of villains who hated Static. And lattes?
Here you go, boss. Double latte, right? I got cappuccinos for everybody else, but...
Well, I agree. It's a weak excuse for coffee. I'm glad someone finally took a stand. Espressos are bust, baby. Did you know that Ebon is actually Rubber Band Man's brother? He even dated Static's sister Sharon, until Static totally blew up his spot.
You're not going anywhere.
Stringer?
Try Rubber Band Man.
Wait, his real name is Stringer? like Stringer Bell. In my mind, there is now a shared Static Shock The Wire universe, and it's incredible.
That's market saturation.
And while Rubber Band Man was a frequent foe, he would later redeem himself and become one of the good guys. Don't believe me? Check it out yourself.
Thanks, Rubber Van Man. Okay, what's wrong with this picture?
Nothing. I did my time, now I'm one of the good guys.
He was so good, he even helped Static deliver PSAs.
See, you can have really good language skills, but still have trouble recognizing graphic symbols.
In season 3, the tone of the series becomes a little darker, and there was more integration with the other DC animated series. Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, and John Semper became writers' room regulars, and in addition to Dakotaverse villains, season 3 saw familiar DCU villains enter the scene. Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn try to exploit a young metahuman girl, bringing a second team-up of Static and Batman. Brainiac invaded for 2 episodes, bringing the Justice League into the show.
We await your demands, Brainiac.
Then Toyman appears in Dakota, which has Static teaming up with the Man of Steel. The season 4 premiere featured a double crossover with Batman Adventures and Batman Beyond. Static is sent 40 years into the future to help Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, in saving the future Static.
You're so
Old. No big surprise considering you just hopscotched over 40 years.
Static would guest appear in 2 episodes of Justice League Unlimited, written by McDuffie, where the League takes on the time-traveling Kronos.
We still don't know much about him. Obviously, he's a time-traveling warlord.
Back in Dakota, Static didn't have to fight all these villains alone. Richie develops super intelligence and becomes Static's full-fledged sidekick, Gear.
Rich. Know what I think? I think maybe you're becoming a Bang Bang.
And he put his super brain to use too, inventing high-tech gizmos that got them out of jams, like a backpack.
I call him Backpack.
Backpack?
Wait, a backpack? That actually doesn't sound that impressive.
Cool.
Oh, that's way cool. You know what? I'm sorry for doubting you, Richie.
I got so many ideas, it's like my brain's on fire.
Together, they solved mysteries, fought crime, and took part in plenty of superhero throwdowns, even against each other.
You double-crossing little worm.
Altogether, Static Shock's unique mix of fast-paced action, sarcastic humor, and topical social commentary made it a must-watch on weekday afternoons. Unfortunately, as the seasons progressed, the stories gravitated further away from delving into serious issues and instead began focusing on celebrity guest appearances. Like that time Shaq showed up and remembered his name.
You must be...
Shaq.
No, I'm Shaq.
Yeah, we know who you are, Shaq.
This is Shaq.
And don't forget when they met the Hoop Squad, played by basketball stars Karl Malone, Tracy McGrady, Steve Nash, and Yao Ming.
We're the Hoop Squad.
As the show became more about guest stars and less about its central characters, its popularity faded, culminating in a 4th and final season that would end with Static and every other Bang Baby losing their powers and returning to normal.
Within a few days, your powers will be gone. Forever.
Fake out! Just kidding. Ebon actually restores their powers and then merges with Hotstreak, turning into a giant fire monster called Ebonstreak. But don't fear. Static and Gear blow them up, save the day, and cause some serious property damage in the process. There has got to be an insurance company out there providing coverage for these guys. Even though Static Shock the show ended, the character lived on in other forms. In the pages of DC Comics, he joined the Teen Titans for a brief period and had a significant role in the New 52. Static would also continue making appearances on TV, like when he appeared on the show Young Justice.
Welcome to the team, Virgil.
Call me Static.
Man, that was electrifying. Get it? Now here's a question to debate in the comments. Did I know that was a terrible pun and then said it ironically, or do I just like terrible puns? Tell us what you think in the comments, along with your favorite Static moments.
Not that I have a curfew or anything, but I really gotta wrap this up.